The open ocean, or pelagic zone, consists of everything in the ocean outside of coastal areas. It is separated into five parts: the epipelagic, mesopelagic, bathypelagic, abyssopelagic, and hydropelagic zones. The temperature of the open ocean varies depending on the location of the ocean. In the tropics, the surface ocean temperature is 20 to 25 degrees Celsius all year long. In temperate climates, like on the northeast coast of the United States, the surface water temperatures can vary from 20 degrees Celsius in the summer to 5 degrees Celsius in the winter. In polar regions, the temperatures can vary from a high of 10 degrees Celsius in the summer to below 0 degrees Celsius in the winter. As the depth of the water increases, the temperature decreases. At the end of the epipelagic zone, at a depth of around 200 meters, the temperature of the ocean begins to decrease more rapidly, in what is called the thermocline. The temperature continues to decrease until a depth of about 1,000 meters, which is where the mesopelagic zone starts. From here to about 4,000 meters, the water temperature will remain constant. While it is hard to calculate the total rainfall for the entire ocean, parts of the tropical ocean can get up to 115 inches of rain per year, and this is where the majority of the ocean rainfall occurs, due to the extreme heat, which can evaporate more water to precipitate later. The open ocean is a huge biome, and the Earth's oceans cover 71% of the Earth's surface and contain 97% of the Earth's water. In turn, parts of the biome can be found at all latitudes. Approximately 75% of the ocean seafloor is covered in one of three types of sediments: red clay, calcareous ooze, or siliceous ooze. In the upper layers of the ocean, the soil is more nutrient-rich and helps coral and other plants grow. They are able to grow and photosynthesize in these layers because of the sunlight and soil. As you go deeper into the ocean, the soil becomes less nutrient-rich as there is little to no sunlight and the soil does not sustain much life at all. Some abiotic limiting factors for the open ocean are things like the amount of sunlight the area in the ocean receives, the temperature of the area of the ocean, the depth or pressure of the layer of the ocean, and finally, the oxygen concentration and concentration of other nutrients in that layer of the ocean. There is a clear food chain for the majority of the open ocean. Phytoplankton are the primary producers in the open ocean. They use solar energy to convert CO2 and nutrients into carbohydrates and other molecules used by life. Together, they account for about 95% of the primary productivity in the open ocean. The phytoplankton are eaten by the smallest floating animals, the zooplankton. They range in size from single-celled organisms to larger multi-celled organisms. Zooplankton include single-celled animals such as ciliates that never grow large, copepods, shrimp, and larval forms of barnacles, mollusks, fishes, and jellyfish, all of which grow to be much larger animals. Zooplankton are eaten by small predators, such as shrimp and krill, younger stages of smaller animals such as jellyfish and fish, and finally small fish such as sardines and herring. At the top of the marine food web are large predators. These include large fish such as sharks, tuna, and mackerel, marine mammals including seals, walruses, and dolphins, birds such as pelicans, albatrosses, and penguins, and finally people, who are the dominant top predator. Plants and animals that live in the ocean have many important adaptations which make survival possible. Marine plants and algae attach firmly to rocks and other things so that waves don't wash them away. Certain seaweeds are also tough and leathery. This protects them from being torn or dried out by the sun. The deep sea is too deep for the light to penetrate that plants need to make their food through photosynthesis. Since there is not enough usable light available for plants to photosynthesize in the deep sea, plants cannot live there. Bacteria that can live as deep as 1,500 meters to 3,200 meters near deep sea hot vents. These bacteria use a compound called hydrogen sulfide instead of sunlight to make their food. Some fish adaptations are things like gills, which allow them to breathe in ocean water. Also, some animals have sleek bodies to help them swim through the water and cut down the friction on the animals. Some animals have their eyes on the side of their head to see predators all around them. Fish also have fins to help them swim faster. Also, certain fish have certain colors of camouflage to hide themselves from predators. Finally, most mammals in the ocean, such as whales, have blubber to provide warmth. One of the biggest impacts we have on the open ocean is our use of fisheries and overfishing. With advances in fishing equipment, larger ships, and new tracking technologies, many fish stocks around the world have reduced significantly. Aside from reducing fish stocks, unsustainable fishing practices can have other negative impacts on the marine environment. For example, some fishing techniques, such as dredging and trawling, can cause widespread damage to marine habitats and organisms living on the sea floor. These techniques also often capture non-target species known as bycatch that are then discarded. Finally, overfishing can have a negative impact on the food web of the ocean by messing up the natural predator-prey relationships. There are many possible ways to deal with the issue of overfishing in the ocean. One solution to overfishing would be the implementation of marine protected areas that allow for some portion of the targeted fish stock to be completely protected from fishing. Additionally, fisheries can be managed by a quota system that sets catch limits for commercially important species and aims at sustainable management of fish stocks. Arguably, the largest impact that humans have on the ocean biome is pollution. One of the biggest pollutants is trash on the beaches. Beaches all over the world become littered with the trash produced by mankind, much of which is disposed of at sea and then floats all over the world in the current. Another source of pollution for the ocean is sewage, coming both from sewage treatment plants and directly from storm drains. This sewage can be contaminated and bad for not only the ecosystem, but also human health. Oil is another major pollutant. Oil spills in the ocean usually happen when an ocean oil rig springs a leak or when an ocean oil tanker carrying oil wrecks. The hardest hit organisms during oil spills are marine birds. Finally, chemicals released into the ocean also cause a myriad of problems. Pesticides coming from runoff of agricultural land into the ocean damages marine organisms. The effects of ocean pollution are oil getting into the gills and feathers of marine animals, which makes it difficult for them to move or fly properly or feed their children. Also, oil can disrupt the cycle of coral reefs by preventing sunlight from reaching the marine plants and affecting the process of photosynthesis. Another effect of pollution on the ocean ecosystem is the depletion of oxygen content in water. Most of the debris in the ocean does not decompose and remain in the ocean for years. It uses oxygen as it degrades. As a result of this, oxygen levels go down. When oxygen levels go down, the chances of survival of marine animals like whales, turtles, sharks, dolphins, and penguins for a long time also goes down. Finally, pollution can lead to a failure in the reproductive system of most sea animals and have a negative impact on the food chain. There are many easy, short-term and long-term ways to fix the issue of pollution in the ocean. One easy thing that we all can do is pick up our own trash and the trash of others if we see it around us when we are on the beach. Also, countries and organizations can put money towards restoration sites in order to restore ocean ecosystems. Finally, stricter laws can be placed on sewage treatment plants to ensure that the contaminated runoff does not make its way into the oceanic ecosystems. This is the fin whale. Fin whales are one of the world's largest species of whales, with a maximum length of about 75 feet in the northern hemisphere and 85 feet in the southern hemisphere. Fin whales are found in deep, offshore waters of all major oceans, primarily in temperate or polar latitudes. Often found in social groups of 2 to 7 whales. During the summer, fin whales are top predators and feed on krill, small schooling fish, and squid by lunging into schools of prey with their open mouth, using their 50 to 100 accordion-like throat plates to gulp large amounts of food and water. They then filter the food particles from the water using the 260 to 480 baleen plates on each side of their mouth. Fin whales fast in the winter while they migrate to warmer waters. Fin whale is an endangered species and was listed on the endangered species list on the 2nd of June in 1970. They are vulnerable to extinction due to their low reproductive rates, they require large territories, have fixed migratory patterns, need to eat a lot to survive, and parts of them are commercially valuable. Current threats to the fin whale population are commercial whaling, collisions with vessels, entanglement in fishing gear, reduced prey abundance due to overfishing, habitat degradation, and disturbance from low-frequency noise. According to the World Wildlife Foundation, the current population is between 50,000 and 90,000 fin whales. In order to help the population increase, the IWC set catch limits to 0 for all whales in 1982. Fin whales are listed on Appendix 1 of the Convention on Trade in Endangered Species, or CITES, but this does not apply in Iceland, Norway, or Japan, who hold reservations. Fin whales are also listed on Appendices 1 and 2 of the Convention on Migratory Species, or CMS. Finally, the Atlantic Large Whale Take Reduction Team was established to develop a plan to reduce the incidental serious injury and mortality of fin whales and many other species of whales. These laws and regulations have helped to decrease the number of commercial whalers and other threats to fin whales.